Oh, Hatsune Miku. Welcome back. My name is Lumen Lumenvale, and this is the Unreliable Narrator Show. We're back with another fandom reaction today to Project Sekai. Project Sekai is a mobile rhythm game. It has Vocaloids in it. It's like a vocal software that can like sing anything because it was recorded off of a bunch of like this singer like singing like little phonetic bits. And then a lot of the times they get turned into these personalities and made into little like virtual idols like Hatsune Miku. Project Sekai is a mobile rhythm game that includes Vocaloid, although it isn't necessarily just about Vocaloid because I think there's like real people in it too. And one of the Vocaloid that's in it is Hatsune Miku, who is, you know, our girl. The girl of the internet, the ultimate internet girl. She's like the female Germa. Let's talk about Hatsune Miku, actually, because I didn't know until very recently that she was like what she was or what Vocaloid was. To be honest, I kind of thought that Hatsune Miku was sort of like, you know, like old mythological gods and spirits and stuff like that, where they were created to describe some sort of natural phenomenon. Like people would say like, oh, the sun goes across the sky because Apollo or whoever is riding his chariot, and his chariot is the sun because he's the god of the sun, right? I thought Hatsune Miku was kind of like that, except the natural phenomena that she explained were things like Minecraft and Harry Potter. And honestly, learning that she's a virtual idol Vocaloid software hasn't really changed my view very much. All this to say, I was a little surprised when I started digging in to the Project Sekai fandom, which also has like 3 names, by the way, for some reason. It's Project Sekai Coloful Stage featuring Hatsune Miku in Japanese, and in English it's Hatsune Miku's Colorful Stage for some reason. Anyway, the point is I started looking into the fandom and there was nothing about Hatsune Miku. So I had to figure out, like, because I assumed that she was the main character because it's Hatsune Miku. It's like Britney Spears. It's like you made a video game about Britney Spears in which she's just this random character in the background who's not even like the most important character. Actually, you know what would be really sick would be a video game where Britney Spears was like a mentor kind of character, like a Obi-Wan Kenobi type. Anyway, I know what Star Wars are. Anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi and then Luke Skywalker. The point is, I was expecting there to be a lot of Hatsune Miku, and then there's not a lot of Hatsune Miku, and it's okay, it's fine, I'm not mad. I just need to find a way to cope, and the way I've decided to cope is by watching videos of gameplay on YouTube so I can understand what kind of game this even is. It's kind of like Guitar Hero and steroids. I want Miku. Oh, well, that was easy. I want Miku. I need to listen to Miku. My girl. My silly rabbit. Where's Miku? Where is she? What? She's not even here? No Miku? Well, who cares then? I have one response to that, and one only. Not enough Miku. Also, by the way, this is not beer. I promise Project Sekai is not so bad that it has driven me to drink. It's ginger. It's ginger. Not sponsored, but if Cock and Bull ginger beer wants to sponsor me, I promise I'll be the best CBGB YouTuber that you could ever find. To be honest, Twitter was a little bit boring. I did go on Twitter. It was honestly mostly just people saying, oh my god, I'm so addicted to Project Sekai. It's a mobile game. I'm sorry, friends. They're addictive on purpose. But I did find one interesting thing on Twitter, which was this meme that I think implies that every rhythm game, I'm assuming these are all rhythm games that collaborate with the Persona series, which is, as far as I could tell, a Japanese RPG game series. Any game that collaborates with them will die, will end of service a year later. And so what people are doing is they're posting this and they're threatening each other. They're saying, I hope your favorite gacha game gets gets a collaboration with Persona, so it gets shut down later, which I feel like is so cruel. That's so mean. They're not just doing it to Project Sekai fans. I think they're doing it to everybody. Dang, it's really that like Grim Reaper knocking on the door kind of meme there. Well, I went on Tumblr, and normally I spend a little bit of time and I try to figure out who is the fandom favorite character. Who's everybody's favorite special little boy? Because it's always a special little boy. In this case, it was really easy. I didn't have to look very long at all. I'm 96.7% sure that it's Tsukasa. I'm so sorry for how I pronounced that. I don't speak any Japanese, but I do speak Spanish. He is definitely a big favorite. I don't know anything about his personality, although I did Google him very briefly, and it looks like he's charismatic and blonde, which I thought fan favorites usually had dark hair, but all the last ones I've been seeing, all the special little boys I've seen recently, they're blonde. Maybe I just think that fan favorites tend to have dark hair because I always went for villains when I was younger, and they tend to have dark hair. And so now I'm like, wow, people like the blonde guy? That's kind of weird. That's fine. I mean, there are blonde villains too. I just never liked any of them. Anyway, I found this tier list and I thought it would be fun if we speed ran did it, even though I don't know who any of the characters are, except, well, one of these is Tsukasa, actually. This is the blondest one. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Miku, S tier, obviously. He's the favorite, so he can go in F tier. This one looks kind of like alt, so I'm putting them up here. This one looks like a tiny little child, so I would feel bad. Actually, this one looks kind of like Zelda, so actually, no, wait, Zelda.
Yes, this one looks like a pirate, A tier. This one looks kind of ghosty, B tier. This one looks boring as fuck.
This one looks blonde.
This one's blue, which is okay. This one's bluer, which I prefer. This one, I like this one. I like that one. Greenish, nice, blonde, boring. Oh, this one looks like Naruto. This one looks like boring. This one also looks boring. This one looks sporty, like, so that's fun. This one looks cocky. I like that. I like this one's eyes, and this one looks normal.
Bam. Click. Timer. Bop. It is everybody's favorite time. It's ship time. It doesn't seem like ship wars between people are like that big of a thing. Nothing like what they were in Omori or something like that. We're only going to talk about a couple of ships this time. The first one we're going to talk about is one called Ruikasa, which is Rui Kamishiro and Tsukasa Tenma, and they are two boys. Wow. They're high school students, and they are a duo of weirdos at their school, and their shipping wiki entry is so long. It is unbelievably long. Clearly, this was written by an enthusiast. Seems to be by far the most popular ship. This, like, the wiki literally lists out, like, every moment they've had that's like even a little bit of a bonding moment at all. It's the most written ship on AO3 for sure. It's got 300 more at least than the next one, so they're fine probably. But what really blew my mind was I started looking at Tumblr, and although this is not reflected on fic on AO3, Tumblr seems to be all aboard the polyamory train, and they are big fans of a ship called Polysho. Now, Polysho is a poly ship between all 4 of the members of one of the idol group, like K-pop idol groups or J-pop idol groups more. And one of those groups is called Wonderlands X Showtime. WXS for short. Sorry, wait. WXS for short. I don't know why I wanted to spell it out with my hands, but it seems like the kind of thing you would do. Polysho is the poly ship for all of them. And it looks like poly ships are not like super uncommon in this fandom. Like there's a decent amount of people that are just like take the whole group and ship them. There's 2 boys and 2 girls, and it's a poly ship between all of them. It's definitely the most popular of the poly ships and one of the more popular ships in general, which is pretty surprising. I've only been in a couple of fandoms or even seen a couple of fandoms where poly ships are like common at all. They're usually like kind of an afterthought, and at least half the time they're like the 2 dudes that everyone ships together, and then one of their wives or girlfriends because they felt too bad to kill them off like everybody else does in fic. It's a time-honored tradition. If you want to ship these 2 dudes so bad, time to kill the wife. Fandom doesn't love women. But now it's time for another segment that we like to call This Is Not a Drama Show. when I talk about drama, aka it's when I talk about what comes up when you search fandom name and drama, because usually what comes up is, why is X fandom so toxic? And it's like, baby, they're all toxic. It's the internet and it's people that care a lot about something. In this instance, I would say there's a couple of kind of interesting discourses going around with this fandom. The one that I think is more interesting is the Vocaloid related one, which is a conflict between older Vocaloid fans and Project Sekai fans, who tend to be a little bit younger and newer into the Vocaloid scene, because older Vocaloid fans are just pure fans of Vocaloids themselves, like Hatsune Miku, you know? The point is, they're really big fans of Vocaloids themselves, and a lot of the Project Sekai kids, at least according to these older fans, don't really know what Vocaloid is, or some of them supposedly think that Project Sekai invented Vocaloid or invented these Vocaloid characters. Also, like, the older Vocaloid fans wish that the game had more focus on Vocaloids, whereas a lot of the newer fans kind of find the, like, way the Vocaloid sounds to be sort of artificial, because it is, and so some of them tend to prefer the covers of Vocaloid songs that are done by just regular human artists, non-virtual artists, which I actually think that's a really interesting discourse. It seems like some of the arguments of both sides are a little manufactured. There's maybe not quite as many like older Vocaloid fans gatekeeping as younger ones seem to think, and there's probably not as many younger ones thinking that Project Sekai invented Vocaloid as older ones seem to think, but it just seems to be kind of an interesting like generational divide. And I didn't even realize there was so much of a Vocaloid culture until recently. So it's kind of interesting to see this sort of inter-community discourse that's going on in an area that I have no experience in. Sure, there's tons of like discourse in the community, like, you can't ship that. No, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. No, ship it. You know, and so on and so forth for eternity, forever and ever and ever. Amen. Far from the worst fandom that I've seen. Overall, I think that this is a perfectly average fandom with some kind of interesting things, but what you don't realize is that you get the invisible Hatsune Miku buffer, which is that your fandom gets what it would get before, but plus 2 points because Hatsune Miku, and she's a minor internet deity. So actually, you guys get an 8 out of 10.